The day I finally left, it wasn't with a scream or a dramatic fight. It was with a quiet, almost reverent certainty. I remember carefully placing those divorce papers on the kitchen table, right where I knew Michael would see them the moment he walked in. The house felt strangely still, almost holding its breath. And as I gathered our daughter, Lily, into my arms and walked out that door for the very last time, a weight I hadn't even realized I was carrying lifted off my shoulders. I felt an incredible mix of exhaustion, relief, and this fierce, protective resolve. It was over. But getting to that point, that's a whole different story. Michael and I had been married for 4 years. We'd talked about kids from the very beginning, sketched out this future where a little family was central to everything. So, when I finally found out I was pregnant, I expected joy, excitement. What I got was distance. He just seemed upset, even told me he wasn't ready to be a father. It stung, especially since we'd planned this. And he was in his late 30s, it wasn't like he was a kid. I was only 31 myself, but his reaction felt so out of sync with the future we'd envisioned. It made me feel incredibly alone. I sat him down, looked him right in the eye, and told him clearly, if he truly didn't want this child, that was his choice. But I wasn't going to beg him to stay or force him to be a father he didn't want to be. I told him, with every fiber of my being, that I'd rather raise our baby alone than stay in a relationship where I had to drag him into parenthood. I wanted Lily to have a father who was present, who wanted to be there. He got furious. Absolutely enraged. He accused me of choosing the baby over him, called me selfish. It was a low blow. I reminded him that thinking about our child's well-being wasn't selfish. His reaction, though? That felt immature. I even pointed out the obvious, we'd been married, having unprotected contact for years. Why was he so shocked? He was just dumping all the blame on me, as if I'd plotted this behind his back. It was infuriating. It was crushing to see the man I married act like this over what should have been a beautiful milestone. I couldn't take the emotional stress. I started packing a bag, fully ready to go stay with my parents, Eleanor and Robert. I needed space, I needed peace, for myself and for our baby. When he saw I was serious, something shifted. He came to me, apologized, asked me not to leave. He needed time to think, he said. I wasn't sure what to expect, but I agreed. A week later, he came to me. His tone was different, softer. He said he'd thought it all through, realized I was right. He admitted his fear but said he was starting to feel excited about becoming a father. I remember this wave of relief washing over me. For the first time in ages, I felt a flicker of hope. Maybe, just maybe, we could navigate this together. For a few months, he was attentive, caring. He made an effort to look after me. But as my belly grew, things changed again. Like any pregnant woman, I was eating more. I was eating for 2, for Lily. Instead of understanding, Michael started making comments. Surprised you're eating so much, he'd say, his tone laced with judgment, making me feel greedy. I tried to explain, patiently, that it was normal, healthy even. He never seemed to truly believe me. It hurt, feeling judged for nourishing our child. Then came the maternity clothes. My body was changing, expanding. I needed comfort. He hated them. Absolutely hated them. He'd make these cutting remarks, saying I didn't look beautiful anymore, that he was embarrassed to be seen with me. My heart just broke. You want support, love, when you're pregnant. Instead, I felt ugly, unwanted. We argued constantly. How could he say such things? I was growing our child. I wanted him to be proud, but all I felt was criticized. The day I went into labor, that was intense. I was scared, but ready. I wanted Michael there. But he refused. Said he couldn't handle the blood and gore. He wanted his mother, Deborah, to be in the room instead. I was horrified. No way. I refused instantly. I needed comfort, not judgment. I asked for my own mother, Eleanor. And thankfully, she was there. Holding my hand, comforting me, making me feel safe through it all. Even after Lily arrived, she stayed, making sure we were both okay. My mother's presence made all the difference when Michael couldn't be bothered. The morning after Lily was born, Michael showed up with gifts and flowers. He seemed so happy, so excited. He couldn't stop smiling, just wanted to hold her. For a moment, I actually breathed a sigh of relief. Maybe, after everything, things could get better. That hope evaporated quickly. Not even a full day after giving birth, he made a joke. He asked if I was finally going to lose all the weight I'd gained. The words cut deep. I was literally recovering from childbirth. My body was healing. And he was making me feel self-conscious. I glared at him. He tried to backtrack, saying he was just thinking about my health, wanting me to get back to how I looked before. I shut him down. I told him I was a mother now, my body needed time to heal from the trauma of birth. I wasn't a machine. But he didn't listen. Instead, he started complaining about how his mother, Deborah, was right about women changing after having babies, not always in ways men like. I was confused, hurt. I asked what he meant. He then confessed that he and Deborah had been talking about my weight behind my back. She'd told him women let themselves go after marriage and kids, and it was the husband's job to keep them in check. And then he said it, he wanted to make sure I didn't let go and become fat and ugly like other women. He wanted me to lose all the weight and go back to being pretty again. It was a punch to the gut. He wasn't seeing me, a mother who just brought life into the world. He was judging me, repeating toxic ideas. It hurt more than words can say. I was speechless. That he'd talk about me like that with his own mother? A profound betrayal. And that Deborah, a woman herself, was feeding him these ideas? It made me feel utterly alone. A month passed, and the comments didn't stop. They got worse. I was physically and emotionally exhausted. Today was particularly hard. He told me to go for a jog instead of laying in bed all day. Something inside me just snapped. I shouted back, reminded him I was up all night with Lily, feeding her, soothing her. I was the one doing everything for her, cooking, cleaning, laundry, groceries. I had no time for a jog. I was worn out. He dismissed it, said I was overdramatic, blamed it on female hormones. It was like I was invisible. It was then I started to plan. I realized Michael wasn't going to change. I had to change my situation. I started pretending to embrace his idea of me losing weight. I signed up for a gym, Pilates classes. Lily needed childcare while I was out, so Deborah became our free nanny. Michael paid for everything, of course. I figured, why not? I'd use his resources. I also insisted he pay for my therapy. I explained I might have postpartum depression. He agreed. Therapy was a revelation. It helped me understand I was in an emotionally abusive marriage. I knew then I was leaving Michael. But it wouldn't be right away. It would be on my terms, when I was strong, independent. Over the next few months, I worked hard. I lost the pregnancy weight, gained back my confidence. Therapy continued. And most importantly, I found a job that allowed me to support Lily and myself. I became the strongest, most independent version of myself. Michael, though, became increasingly jealous and controlling. He'd follow me to the gym, demand my location, get upset if I dressed nicely. I kept my head down, played along, saving every penny, preparing. Then, he dropped the bombshell, he wanted another child. The same man who'd resented our first. Who'd belittled me, abandoned me during my hardest months. Now he pressured me, said Lily deserved a sibling, that it was my responsibility to give him another child. He even told me to stop the gym and focus on getting pregnant. That was it. That was the moment I knew, without a shadow of a doubt, I had to leave now. I'd already spoken to a lawyer, made quiet arrangements. So, I made my move silently. I packed what I could, took Lily, and left. The divorce papers on the table, a final, undeniable statement. When he found them, he completely lost control. The furious calls, the abusive, threatening messages. He swore he'd take Lily from me, make my life hell. But I wasn't intimidated anymore. I knew my rights. I wouldn't be manipulated ever again. Eleanor and Robert took us in. Michael started showing up at their house almost every night, banging on the door, waiting in his car, trying to pressure me. My parents were incredible. They made it clear he wasn't welcome, that all communication had to go through lawyers. Then Deborah got involved. She started calling, begging me to take Michael back. She admitted he could be immature, but insisted I was the only one who could change him. She even said Lily would hate me for breaking up the family. I didn't accept that. I wasn't responsible for fixing him. Walking away wasn't breaking a family, it was protecting ours from toxicity. I want Lily to know love should never cost her dignity. Michael, of course, called me inconsiderate, selfish, even a gold digger, claiming he'd done everything right, that my decisions were just hormonal. I stayed silent. I'd given him enough of my time, my energy. I wasn't giving him my peace, too. A few months ago, the divorce was finalized. It was grueling. Michael and his lawyer threw everything they had at me, false accusations, even photoshopped evidence. But my lawyer fought hard, and the court saw through his lies. I got primary custody of Lily. He even tried to use the fact that I'd started seeing someone new, Daniel, against me. But the judge recognized I was Lily's primary caregiver. Michael was warned to stay away from me unless it was about Lily. Before the final hearing, Deborah made one last desperate attempt. She showed up at my parents' house, tried to convince them to get me to drop the divorce. She even called me a bad daughter and blamed my parents for raising me that way. My mother, Eleanor, stood her ground. She told Deborah that the problem wasn't their daughter, it was how she raised her son. A good mother raises a good son who respects his wife, she said, not one who belittles and abandons her. My dad, Robert, made it clear they wouldn't be intimidated. That confrontation solidified everything. I'm so lucky to have parents like them. They stood by me, protected me. It's been challenging, but I'm incredibly proud. Lily and I have our own place now, safe and comfortable. I love my job. I have my independence. Daniel treats me with respect and care. Our home is peaceful now. We don't have to walk on eggshells. It makes such a difference. I often wonder, what do you think finally makes someone truly realize they need to walk away from a relationship that's hurting them?